Edwards on the drive, goes inside the floor. Scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
The boom is back with a little NBA hardwood action. Two-man booth here on a Tuesday. I got my man AP, red hot AP, coming in hot, taking down NBA tournaments, MLB tournaments, maybe golf tournaments this week. Who knows? Tennis. It could throw into tennis here, AP. How you feeling on a Tuesday?
Feeling good and not taken down. Coming in second. A lot of second place finishes and third, fourth. Can't complain about that, Running pretty good. Feel pretty dialed. The process is good. With baseball, JSU, I don't know about you, but it took me a minute to relearn my settings and stuff in SaberSim. One of the nice features that I had to do is you can go back and look at last season and you can look at past slates, see your settings. So I had to spend some time doing that. Finally feel comfortable, ready, dialed. And it's, late nights now. I don't know about you, but with DraftKings specifically and how they shorten up the slates, they typically leave off the night games. I'm old, I'm getting old. I don't stay up as late as I used to. And, I've been getting some sleep. Not the case with baseball back. I mean, those games got over at 12:30 my time, something like that. I mean, it's kind of late. So I'm starting to feel it just a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, the NBA, it's been nice with these, 8 to 9 cutoffs on DraftKings. Baseball, I don't think we're getting those cutoffs. So we'll see. But I will say it is nice, at least for NBA, that we're getting the cutoffs here. I like it. I prefer it. And we got a nice little 6-game slate. So, AP, we're both big into the NBA right now. Obviously, some people are kind of out with the way, April, end of March DFS is. You got a bunch of, no-name guys coming in, playing big minutes. What is that doing with your process? How is that changing up for you? Because I know you're still grinding the streets and stuff like that. What are you doing in terms of those situations?
Yeah, it is crazy. So if you look at the lobby and you look at some of these contests, I mean, they're so top heavy. It's the other night, Saturday night was I never look at the Saber odds, their live to win odds, but I pulled it up. I made the mistake. I pulled it up and they had me at 56, 57% to ship. And then Bucelis just nuked. That was insane what he did. I got passed by 3 people, but I went from 50K to, what was that, 2 or 3K? I mean, the drop off was absolutely crazy. So what I'm doing is I'm multi-entering, but I'm not maxing or even close to that. I'm typically running 25 to 35 lineups, anywhere from $400, $500 a slate, which is manageable. I can get scooped on any given night. It's not going to affect me, anyway. I'm not going to be tilted or pissed off. And what that allows me to do is take some shots on the stuff that you talk about every time you're doing the show, these players that have crazy usages in certain situation. I think what was the most recent? It was Najee Marshall. I think he was 80 some over 8K, and you were screaming on the show play him, he's the top play on the board. He was 2% owned that night and smashed. So the other thing too is looking at rotations. Some of these backup players. I think last night was a great example for the Jazz. Keontae George, his role. Now, he couldn't hit a shot, but his role coming off the bench, he's basically a starter. And I don't think projections are factoring that type of stuff in. So I do feel right now there's a slight edge. You just got to be able to take on some risk with some of these situations.
Yeah, you brought up a good point too. Play won't get you tilted is I think a really good point when it comes to NBA DFS, because that's the way you should be kind of entering is okay, this is what I'm cool with. If it all goes bad, not a big deal. You just get on to the next day, and everyone's going to be a little different with the amount, but it's definitely a big key, especially when it comes to late NBA regular season. AP, let's dive into the games here. 6 games on DraftKings. 7:30 is the start time, so not the normal 7 start time. We got the 7:30 start time.
Don't you like that with baseball back?
I love it.
Lock time's been kind of crazy the last couple of days with them overlap.
I love it. I hopefully 7:30 is like the new thing. The NBA moves it up 30 minutes. That would be great. Probably won't be, but first game here, Portland and Atlanta. 2 teams still playing for something, AP, at least on the surface anyways. Portland still trying to small glimmer of the play-in, I think. It's closing, but it's still there. Anthony Simon's questionable. Is really the only news that I'm seeing here from an injury standpoint. And Portland's been jamming these minutes for their starters, playing big minutes right now. I think that's very important to note as we get later and later into the season is, do we have teams that actually have something to play for? Are they jamming, trying to get into something or trying to move up? And Portland's one of those teams, AP.
Yeah, they are. They ran a really tight rotation over the weekend against the Knicks, and it was an isolated, 2-game slate. I went all in on Delano Banton, who was mega chalk that slate. And look, the opportunity was there. The Knicks, we're talking about it just briefly before the show. They've been pretty good defensively of late, and you saw just this super tight rotation. Banton couldn't hit anything. I think his rotation got cut because he couldn't do much. I hope Simons plays because Banton was 55, 60% owned. Now, it was a 2-game slate, so naturally people are going to be searching for value, and you're going to see extreme ownerships. But I do think he's a guy that maybe goes a little bit overlooked, and the matchup's going to be, much, much nicer. He's going to be in there in the second unit, likely avoids Dyson Daniels, who would be on Simons and Sharp and other guys. But really, Portland, it's a fantasy-friendly rotation. Everything's seems to be running through Denny Avdia. Kling has been a frustrating guy for me. You would think that, I'm curious to your take on this. He's a guy that in DFS formats, you'd think he does have massive upside, but he has such a wide range of outcomes. I don't know if it's because you have all of these, if Sharp's going off, he wants the ball in his hand and he's going to shoot a ton. You're going to see the same thing with Simons. And then it's Avdia. And a lot of these guys also are good at racking up peripheral stats. I think that maybe takes away from Klingon, but for me, he's been a tough guy to get right. And then, on the Hawks side, Trae Young, I've been really impressed with him. He's been awesome. Obviously, Dyson Daniels has been sick too. I worry about Richesay in this matchup, and then Mo Gay. I think they lose run to Levert, Terrence Mann, assuming he plays. I don't know if he popped up on the injury report, and then George Niang. So that would be my concern with Richesay, who's actually been pretty good. It's just in these tougher matchups, if he's struggling, it seems like they go to some of these veterans off the bench.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Going back to your Klingon point too, I think with how many, guys that demand the ball and or try to be isolated scorers, Donovan Klingon's not that guy. He's not getting touches, scoring opportunity touches that much this year. And if you look at it, the field goal attempts kind of bear it out on its own, shooting 3-4 field goal attempts a game. You'd think someone with his size would get more opportunities near the rim and be super efficient, but he just doesn't do that. So I think it plays into his DFS, obviously, upside, and I can't play him at 5'4". I just refuse to do it. So Denny's definitely in play for me. If I'm Atlanta, though, I'm putting Dyson Daniels on Denny. Screw Simons. Let Simon shoot from the outside and get hot. Even Shaden Sharp, Denny's the guy. That's the guy controlling everything, creating. doing whatever this team needs. He's kind of the all-in-one dude right now, and he's been awesome. That's why he's 8K. But I get it. Like, he should be 8K. I assume Simons plays. I think he was questionable last time out too. I kind of like Tumani Kamara as well, just as like a low-owned tournament flyer, someone who, is going to be low-owned, but he's going to play minutes, right, AP? And at this point in the season, like, minutes is king, and I want teams that are going to push these guys minutes. He plays both sides of the floor, defense and offense. I think he's kind of sneaky. I like your take on Ricochet and him getting hurt by LeVert and Yang, so it'll probably keep me a little lower on him, even though he's looked really good. And, I definitely think Trae Young is in play as a spend up. I definitely think you could play someone like Karis LeVert at 4,600 as well. That's a cheap price tag for him, lower floor, but he has the ceiling at that price tag. So I don't know if you have any takes on LeVert or Denny, because those are kind of two that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. Did you mean Kamara? Denny definitely. Like, I've gotten
Kamara. I meant
not
Kamara.
playing him. I love the Kamara take because Trae Young, like, while he's been good, he turns the ball over a lot. So I would give him like a slight bump. Like, Kamara, the minutes are going to be solid, but he relies on peripheral stats, steals, blocks, rebounds. Not really going to get the shot attempts like Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons. And I do think it's a good matchup though for steals and blocks on both sides, actually, with Dyson Daniels. Like, Dyson Daniels 7,500. That's a tough click. I have him as like a solid tournament play because, the guy has upside, and I think
he's always in play for tournaments.
Yeah,
with that type of stocks upside. I might play him and Kamara just as like low owned flyers. I don't think anyone's going to play that.
How isn't he in the running for Defensive Player of the Year? Like, I saw Draymond Green. Like, I don't look at those.
Don't even get me started now.
It's Draymond Green. Crazy. What are we doing? Like, are we serious?
Did
he
anyone
plays like
watch
29 minutes?
And I'm sorry. Like, listen, I used to love Draymond Green. He was a great defender, but now it's all reputation. He's super handsy. He's all over people. You could call a foul on him at any point during a possession, pretty much, because he's fouling constantly. I don't know how you give him the award over Dyson Daniels. It's just crazy to me. I don't get it whatsoever.
Is he the favorite?
I think so. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep. Yeah, I don't get it. Anything else here, AP, before we move on? Any, Okongwu love or anyone else?
I think it's just, a game where you're going to want some exposure. The other thing I've been doing is, using rules, not as much like with a game like this one. I think there's some specific scenarios, like when we talk about the Magic, I'll talk about some rules that I've been using for a while. But 3 max, like I want players in this game, but I'm capping it at 3 max each side. Okongwu definitely in play. I love his role in the Hawks, but he's a tournament play always. He's a boom bust guy for sure, and the price tag's just massive. But he's never really owned since that price got into the 7K range. Like, he's always been a nice leverage play, but we've had so many slates lately where center is like so stacked that even if he gets you 40, it hasn't been like even close to being in the winner because of what these value centers have done.
Yeah, and who knows what we get tonight. We might get more value at center, so depending on what happens with Karl Anthony Towns. But let's go to the next game here. Another game where it's still kind of meaningful. The Bucks, not as much, but honestly, they're in the 6th seed. They have 4 games up on Atlanta. That's still not locked in, right, AP? They could technically move into the play-in if they lose, a bunch of games and the Hawks, won a bunch of games. So they're not locked in yet. And Phoenix is playing for their lives. No Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal questionable, but they're on the outside looking into the play-in right now. Do you think, AP, before you get into the players, do you think Phoenix can make a run and get into this play-in over the Kings or the Mavericks?
I mean, I guess they're just such a disaster. I don't know, man. Like, I don't get what they're doing. Kevin Durant obviously out, and then suddenly Bradley Beal's now like upgraded, made shoot around and might play tonight. Like, why hasn't he been playing? They've been fighting for their lives for a while now. And this dude he's a top 5 paid guy for how many years now? And he never plays. Like,
something's off there. Something's off there.
It's
like
wild.
KD doesn't like Beal, or the coach doesn't like him and said, we don't need your ass. Until now, like, something's weird with that.
Devin Booker's been not great either. Kevin Durant, I mean, he's obviously the guy, but something's off with the Suns. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they don't make it. I mean, yeah, they're not going to beat the Kings. And I think the Mavs have enough with AD to stay ahead of them. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, AP. I feel the same way about that. Even though the Mavs, weird game last night, but that's all right. I mean, pains, whatever. Let's get into this game because you brought up Devin Booker, and I want to touch on him real quick because 9,700 against Milwaukee, no KD, maybe Beal, but talk about it like if Beal's in and out, what you're doing with Booker first and then hit Beal.
Yeah, so obviously all the usage in the world for Bradley Beal tonight with these guys out. I think so once he gets ruled out, I'm curious to see what happens with ownership projections. I don't know if just the price tag is going to keep ownership down. If that's the case, I do think he's interesting because the volume is going to be absolutely insane. On the other side, he's just been so bad. I mean, he's shown over his last 20 games, he has 3 games that where he's shown some ceiling, 58, 57, 61. But they're easy matchups. The Pelicans, one of them. Denver in a 141 to 149 game, no defense was played. And the Bulls. So I don't know if you're the Bucks, you just throw the kitchen sink at Devin Booker tonight. Let the Ryan Dunns, Royce O'Neal, let those guys of the world, beat you, and you should walk away with a win pretty easily if you can do that. So it's really an ownership play for me. I lean right now just being underweight though, just with how bad he's been.
I think I'm the opposite. I want to be over on the Phoenix Suns. I want to be over on probably Booker. If Beal plays, I'll play Beal as long as he has no minutes restriction or anything like that. I like this game. I want to focus more on teams that have something to play for. Phoenix clearly does. And, not just those guys, but you would think presumably Royce O'Neal and or Ryan Dunn's roles increase here. So I'm definitely going to like Big Royce. He's 4K right now on DraftKings. Ryan Dunn, 4,300. I'd prefer Royce over Ryan Dunn, but I think both guys are in play. They're just missing so much with KD that it can't just be all Booker. Even if Beal plays, there's got to be someone else that comes through for this team in a close game. And I've watched both teams not play defense, so I'm okay with taking my chances here that there's no defense played and we get a fun DFS game. So I definitely like Phoenix. The Milwaukee side is a different story because I feel like Giannis, every slate Giannis is popular and every slate he underperforms as chalk. He's 12K. And man, I'm going to say this and then I'm sure he's going to go for 75 tonight. But he has not burned me once at 12K. He has not gone for 70 plus fantasy points. If he gets 60 or 65, that's fine. Okay, he's good play. But to burn me, AP, what does he need? What does he need to get at 12-1?
He needs a lot. Just looking at the slate, I mean, man, you have this kind of upper stud or this lower stud range, like the sub 10K guys, Paulo, Trae Young, Franz Wagner, Denny. I almost would like if you play Giannis, you have to sacrifice one or two or multiple of those guys. Josh Giddey, and those guys have plenty of upside. And I was so frustrated the other day, Doc didn't even consider bringing Giannis back in. They had that game down to what, 15 points? I had no idea what they were doing. They had all the momentum in the world. Kevin Porter Jr. was finally going off, playing awesome, and you don't bring Giannis back in. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it was odd. Someone brings up Bol in the chat. Travis does. I mean, honestly, this is a spot where Bol should get minutes. They hate him. We had our Bol chance.
We need the starting lineup. This Suns lineup has changed so much. I mean, What do you think it's going to be? Gillespie, Booker, Dunn, Royce, and Richards?
That's what I think. That's what I think. It should be Bol, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. But I do think that's what the lineup will be. So, I mean, my question is more the Milwaukee side for me is who do I want to play? Because I'm probably not going to spend for Giannis. I can't play Kyle Kuzma. I refuse to play Kyle Kuzma.
He's so bad.
Oh, God, I hate Kyle Kuzma. Brooke Lopez, I think, he could be in for a good game, AP.
I'm playing Kevin Porter Jr. That's what I'm playing.
That's a good tournament play right there. I mean,
hey, look at the second half rotation. Like Ryan Rollins, come on. Ryan Rollins is finally getting exposed. We're right about this guy all along.
Ryan Rollins outplayed KPJ for 2 games, and he did. He was really good. But KPJ has something that Ryan Rollins will never have, which is just that he has that next level of offensive game that Ryan Rollins just doesn't have. And for fantasy, that's what we want. So I'm kind of with you on the KPJ. That's a tournament play. What's his ownership coming in at right now, AP? Because I know he went off last game.
Probably nothing because he's 4,900 and they're projecting 22 minutes for him. But if you're Doc, with how he played in the second half last game, he was the best player in the game. I think he gets more run in the first half and then kind of takes over in the second half. If he's playing well, it's truly a tournament play for sure. 3%.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's right.
3%. Doc Rivers, I try not to trust Doc Rivers whenever I can. So I will stay away from trusting him, but I do like the play in theory and at ownership. Steve, if you want to go watch a player try and throw a game, go watch Kyle Kuzma against Denver. Go watch him. It literally looked like he was either stoned out of his mind or he was trying to throw the game in the first half. It was so bad.
We didn't
I can't do it.
If you think back to the Lakers, I mean, do you think it was LeBron kind of keeping them in line? Maybe yes. Giannis isn't the leader that we think that he is, because the stuff we're seeing from Kyle Kuzma, I'm with you. It's mind blowing, man. It looks like he's still playing for the Wizards, if not worse.
Yeah. No, he just brought the Wizards game over with him to Milwaukee. It's bad. All right, yeah. So it sounds like AP, you're a little lower on Phoenix. I'm a little higher on them. Milwaukee. We were kind of low on them outside of KPJ, right? I didn't hear you really talk about. Are you playing Giannis?
The way I think this game is interesting. The more you talk about it, we always naturally think to want to play the studs, especially. And again, Devin Booker definitely going to be in play if Beal is out, but there's so many cheap pieces, and it could be one of those games where there's a lot of fire emoji fantasy friendly games, but it just comes via the value, a lot of under priced pieces, like you talked about, Royce O'Neal. I do want to see the Suns starters, and once we have them locked in, I'll definitely like some pieces. I struggle with the 9,700 Booker, but he's going to chuck. And who are the Bucks going to throw at him? Prince? Who's their best on-ball defender? It has to be Prince, right?
Maybe they throw Prince at him. Gary Trent, I think, gets a crack at him. Yeah,
It might
those
be
two guys.
it might be a D-book spot. You might be right.
I think it is. All right, let's go to the next game here. Philly and New York. Got a little Quentin Grimes revenge spot here against his old team, the New York Knicks. Knicks, we are waiting on probably bigger piece of news of the slate, right? Cat downgraded, questionable. AP, if he's out, I mean, we're either going to get Precious at 3-3 or Mitch Robb at 3-2 starting. So we're going to get value at center if Cat's out. And then the Knicks just become complete, like, nut plays, some of these guys. So we got to talk about if Cat's in and if Cat's out, what we're doing here. Because to me, the Philly side, not as interesting. You got Yabu questionable. You got Kyle Lowry questionable. Whether those guys play or not is not as relevant to me. It might bump if Yabu's out the big situation for Philly, but overall, I don't think it bumps them as much as it would the Knicks, obviously, with Cat out. So talk about Cat and what you're doing with him in and out.
Yeah, so obviously what we like about the Knicks is tight rotation, and these wings have been awesome. OG, he's been incredible. It does feel like a decent Josh Hart spot. Like Josh Hart, if Cat was out, would be close to a lock. I mean, his rebounding upside would be massive. Like Philly's been one of the best teams to target. Them and the Spurs from a fantasy standpoint. It's Philly and then the Spurs. I mean, and then the Grizz and Bulls are the top teams to target as far as like giving up fantasy points goes. And it kind of makes sense. Like you have a tanking team, a team full of dudes that honestly should be playing the G League outside of Quentin Grimes. And Grimes has been enough to keep them competitive offensively. Even if the game gets out of hands, we've seen Thibs just like lean on his guys and they still get 33, 34 plus minutes. So I'm not as concerned about blowout for me. It's more about how many of these Knicks players can get there at their elevated prices in a matchup. And I think it's like two if you're talking about the Mikal Bridges, Hart, OG, and Towns. Like, I'm curious to see where you're at. I struggle to get to like 3. I mean, you need like a perfect game environment for it to happen. It could definitely happen against Philly. I'm going to leave like DeLon Wright and some of the cheaper pieces out of that. Like I'm fine filling them in with like 2 of Bridges or Hart or Towns and Nobi. But yeah, if Towns is out, I mean, man, we're considering a lot of Knicks here. Like they're just going to be very, very strong plays. Even, Mitch Robb at 3,200 would be like a lock. Precious at 3,300. I mean, you just lock both of them. The matchup is elite. They might get there off the bench, to be honest. Like these are the spots that we talked about at the start of the show where you can take a shot on in a really easy matchup. Like imagine if like Mitch Robb's going off, or maybe it would be Precious since he's a guy that's going to be more involved offensively. You could see Thibs just leave him out there a little bit longer. We've seen him do that with the rotation guys a little bit more versus like past years. So for me, this game is really simple. I mean, maybe you can talk me into playing 9,400 Quentin Grimes. Man, it's a huge price tag. He's going to have all of these defenders on him, and they've been really good of late, so I don't think I can get there, but I do have a ton of interest in the Knicks side.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't have interest on the Knicks side. If Cat's out, I personally think Mitch Robb starts. The most minutes he's played this year, 24 against Miami, I think it was. That's enough to me at that price tag, AP. So if Mitch Robb does start for Cat and he plays 24 minutes, I think he probably gets there in that scenario. Maybe he plays more. I doubt he plays too much more just because, he's always injured, and I'm sure they want to keep him ready for the playoffs. So I would like him. OG and Hart would be like the 2 guys I would just jam if Cat's out. Those are the 2 I want. Give me those 2 guys plus 1 of the cheapies, 3 Knicks. I think it's perfect. And and I'll just kind of move on from there. I would have Mikal Bridges 4th. So it would be Hart and OG, and then it would be whoever starts at center, which I think would be Mitch Robb, would be 3. And then after that, it would be Mikal Bridges 4. Whoever doesn't start at center would be 5, and Dawn, right, 6. So that's kind of how I rank the Knicks. I don't know how you have like the stud guys for the Knicks if Cat's out. Because if Cat's in, I think it changes up a little bit where it's like, okay, if Cat's in, I could play at most 2 of the spend ups from the Knicks. Not that I need them, but I could play them, and I think I will still look at them as good plays, but at most 2. And the Philly side, I don't think I can do Grimes. I just don't think I can do Grimes. If Yabusele's out, Adem Bona, I think his minutes are somewhat secure in that 20-ish minute range, mid-20s. But his price tag's up now. I don't love it. Mitch Robb's tough too. Like, that's a tough spot. Like, Mitch Robb, he's not a great offensive player, but he's a great defensive player, and he's just always been hurt. So you never can really see full glimpses of how good he actually is, in my opinion, especially on defense. So it's a tough spot for the bigs, I think, from Philly if Mitch Robb does start. So, yeah, I'm lower on Philly, higher on the Knicks. Hopefully Cat sits.
You know what? So I think a decent barometer to look at, and I know every game's different, but if you go back to that Dallas game, and I'm talking about the game where you called the Najee Marshall take, Josh Hart triple-double he didn't play the entire fourth quarter, 33 minutes. Towns with an absolute nuke of a performance in 34 minutes. I mean, that's a perfect example of a game where you had 3 studs on the Knicks hit value with a run back of Najee Marshall. The more I look at it, Grimes is tough, but you have Lonnie Walker. What is he, 4,500? He started last game, played a ton. I think he would be the interesting run back. I mean, it's a guy that if he comes off the bench, he's going to be really sneaky too. So that's something to look out for as we look at this game.
And we just got Royce O'Neal downgraded to questionable.
At least that game's in the 7:30.
Yeah,
window.
the good thing about that is we're getting starters, so you don't even have to worry about it. Like, Royce O'Neal in or out, seems like he might be closer to doubtful, but we'll see. Good thing is we'll know, so you don't have to worry about it. If he's out, I really feel strongly that Phoenix is going to have some good plays.
So one thing I did, and this was when Boston played the Spurs, and I thought it was interesting because Boston was projecting to get no ownership or very little. I made a rule that forced at least one Boston piece into every single lineup. I think I'm going to do something like that tonight with New York. Even if you go back to the Wizards game before the Mavericks, you had 2 New York Knicks players get there. They smash these shitty teams, and they do so in limited time too. Well, limited time relative to what Thibs runs them. Limited time for them in a rotation is 33 minutes. So you're getting a normal rotation even in a blowout. So I think the Knicks, even if Towns plays, I think you're going to want to prioritize some of them in multi-entry formats. It's just who is the guy is the tough part. If Towns is out, I think you and I both agree it's always Josh Hart. That's something you've talked about a lot when you do these shows. I always go back to that. And then it's a zigzag. I mean, OG's been awesome. Bridges is up there. I think I lean OG slightly over Bridges just with how good he's been. But this is going to be a game that I definitely have interest in.
Yeah, I like that rule. I might make it with Phoenix too. I might make it with both teams, to be honest with you. I think both teams are in good spots. All right, let's keep it moving here. Toronto and Chicago next up on the slate here. Josh Giddey questionable. I think Kevin Huerter also questionable. So those are the pieces of news for this game. AP, I'll just start. I think that I wouldn't be shocked if Josh Giddey sat playing his old team last night, back end of a back-to-back. They get blown out. I feel like they probably wanted him to sit last night, and he just was like, no, I'm playing. And so that's what happened. So I feel like they're probably pushing for him to sit, take a rest day. He did have that like ankle injury that kept him out for like a week or a week and a half a little while ago. They're saying like hip management or whatever. It feels like a rest spot for him. Herter, I don't know what happens with him. He might play if Giddey's out. If they both play, there's still other guys we're waiting on, like DeLon Terry's questionable, Javon Carter's questionable. So they've got other little pieces questionable. This game is at 8-2, so we may or may not get this news in time. I feel like we will, though, get the Josh Giddey news before lock.
A pretty important game. I mean, Toronto, they should just be tanking. They don't. I mean, they would have to win this game and go on a nice run. I mean, the East, the guys, the teams that are going to play in the play-in and up are pretty well decided.
They ain't taking over the Bulls.
Yeah.
No way.
No, they're a little too far back. But my thing is they're actually playing decent basketball right now. They're definitely playing better defensively. They're 6-4 over the last 10 games. It's just kind of weird, kind of interesting. They keep doing this funky rotation where Scotty Barnes is always playing, but he's held to like 25 minutes. Now we've seen him almost put up a triple-double in 25 minutes in the right matchups, which is just insane. There was a game, it was against the Wizards on a slate that kind of tilted me because I was looking at them, but I'm like, man, they got to get there in like the 26 minutes that they're going to play. And they, all three, quickly, Barnes and Pirtle smashed in the 26 minutes, like 45 plus for each of them. And I think it was Barnes that had like a 50-something. So that in a matchup, like that's the thing that's going through my mind in a matchup against the Bulls. But this rotation, just keep in mind, it's just really risky. All of these guys are going to be capped. I do think quickly. So they're all right around like 27, 28 minutes. They can get there, but look, you see it all the time. Like they'll just let the second unit finish out the fourth quarter. Even in a close game, I've seen like Scotty Barnes sit most of the fourth quarter just because he's hit that minutes cap. And so, yeah, it's definitely a tougher spot. I'm not saying like I'm fading any of these guys. I'll definitely have bits and pieces, but man, it's definitely a risky spot. I do like Jacoby Walter if he starts. I think he's a guy that can get there, more of a raw scorer, but I think even he has risk. Like, look how many guys that the Raptors have. They got Sheed, who's been awesome when Quickly's out and he gets the start. You got Mogbo off the bench, Orlando Robinson, who's been really good, but it's like him and Pirtle are going to split minutes. So it's a difficult situation in what should be a really good matchup against the Bulls. So like I think it's more of like an MME situation versus like if you're building one lineup, I would really struggle to get to this game or get to the Raptors side of this game. And then like if we get the Giddey news, like Kobe White, I mean, he's been awesome. You have positional flexibility. He is 8,400 though, so it's not like an absolute guarantee. And then what's your thoughts on Dalen Terry? It seems like he's always like a value that randomly pops and then never does anything.
If he plays and Giddey's out, then I'd have interest, honestly, because there'd just be so much usage to go around. I agree with you on Kobe White. I think Buzelis becomes one of my favorite plays as well, 5K on the Chicago side. But we just got to wait because they've got so many like if questionable guys. And, let's just say a bunch of them are out, right, AP? Which I don't think happens. I think some play, some sit. But if a bunch of them are out, then you could talk about a much smaller roster. Maybe they only have 9 guys, and where maybe THT gets some run. You know what I mean? Maybe Pat Williams gets more run. So you just got to kind of wait and see who's in, who's out. But Buzelis is probably my favorite right now, waiting on the news. And then on the Toronto side, the only guy I kind of have interest in is Jakob Poeltl, because I do think it's a perfect matchup. He's not playing more than 25, 27 minutes-ish. But in this matchup against the Bulls, I think it's a good matchup for him to rack up boards and get there. And look what he's done in the last 2 games. He 46 fantasy points, crushing. He could do that in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, 47 in back-to-back against the Hornets and the Wizards. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, Jacoby Walter, I'm with you on. I think he's good. If he starts, I think he's in play. If he doesn't start, though, I would stay away. So,
Yep. And
100%.
his ownership could be inflated. People chasing the Philly game, like the Philly game was an outlier. Easiest matchup. We already talked about that matchup, but I mean the perfect matchup for a guy like Jacoby Walter to go off. He could very well get you like 16 tonight. Especially if he's not started. So the bust potential is definitely much greater in this matchup.
Yeah, Bulls had a day off, so who knows? Maybe that means they all play. Because they did get blown out. So we'll see with the Bulls. Let's go to an interesting, I think, real life game. I don't know how interesting from a fantasy standpoint this game will be. Golden State and Memphis. It looks like most of both these teams are pretty healthy. The only injury news: Jonathan Kuminga questionable, Gary Payton out. That's really the only noteworthy injury news, I guess. I do think that some of the spend ups might be in play, like a Steph Curry if you wanted to go there. It's just his minutes. I feel like they're going to be very cautious with him going into the playoffs. Him coming off that injury, AP, I do worry about that, but I could see someone like him going off in the spot. I know you've been loving your boy Podziemski. I like him too. He's super volatile, but when his shot's going in, he can do everything else. So he's a great fantasy option.
Yeah, that was a play I loved against the Spurs. And we'll talk about the Spurs matchup, but them and Philly have been just a matchup I'm targeting. But the Spurs, they have the pieces to actually keep the game close. Close enough. Obviously not last game against the Warriors, but Podziemski's been good. And the Grizzlies right now, at least over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, have not been good defensively at all, especially when you look at just giving up fantasy points. Obviously, got rid of their coach, Taylor Jenkins. Obviously, there's a lot of disconnect going there. But again, I mean, all of those things matter. And it sucks that they're playing the Warriors tonight. The most random rotation ever. I mean, Steve Kerr, he's absolutely ridiculous. I will have interest in Podziemski tonight. They're handling Steph Curry with kid gloves. I don't trust the rotation. Maybe it's a Jimmy spot, but man, that price tag is just absolutely insane for I don't think he's earned an $8,600 price tag yet. Maybe if Curry's out, that would be justified. But right now, he's just so content. If his guys are cooking, it's like a Donovan Mitchell type of guy. If his guys are cooking, he's just going to sit back and let them do their thing. And we've seen it time and time again. And that could definitely be the spot that we have tonight. And if that's the case, then I'm back to Brandon Podziemski. He's been a guy that's shown a ton of upside. Moses Moody has been decent at times too. And no one ever plays these guys. And so what I found is that they make for really, really nice contrarian plays. I played too much Jonathan Kuminga too, and obviously got hurt last game. I thought it was the perfect spot, but one of these games he's going to go off. 5K off the bench. You just need the right game for it to happen, and it's just one of those risky plays in that strategy that we talked about at the start of the show. So on the surface, I don't love this game, but I know I'm going to have bits and pieces of it, especially Podziemski. But I think I only need maybe 7 to 12% to be overweight the field. I haven't looked at his ownership projection or anything like that, but he's not going to kill me if he busts, and he has the ability, and he's shown it quite often, to absolutely nuke. So no interest in Curry or Jimmy Butler. It's more the secondary pieces of the Warriors. And I don't trust the Grizzlies right now. And the Warriors have been awesome defensively. So maybe Santi Aldama, we had a nice rotation off the bench, but I still don't trust it yet.
Yeah, I think you brought up Moses Moody, actually a decent call. I don't mind it. Santi Aldama, I think, is the other play. I can't play probably anyone else in this game. And the ownership's reflecting it, though. Outside of Steph, I think no one's looks like it's going to be under 10%. So, AP, we've talked a lot about these other games. And honestly, like the 4 games we already talked about, they all seem like pretty good games. This is like the first game we got to where I was like, yeah, if I don't get to anyone in this game, I don't care. Like if this game bites me, it bites me because I just don't see it. I think Santi would be the best play just because 5,500, and I do like his rotation. And I don't think Edie is in play against a team like Golden State, just like I thought he was a bad play against Boston. Seems like a bad spot for Edie again. So if that's the case, I think it's a Santi spot, because their minutes kind of pull from each other. So I don't know if you feel the same way, AP, or if you think it's more a Zach Edey spot than a Santi spot here against Golden State, but that's kind of the way I look at it.
I don't, as the Grizzlies kind of go through their stuff right now, I don't trust it. Like I think I do think it's a better Santi spot than Edey matchup wise. Just the Warriors are like, they could roll Quentin Post out there and he's still gonna, go out to the 3-point line and take his shots. So just imagine like watching Edey try to get out there. Like I think it's a tough spot for Zach Edey. It'd be much better moving Jaren Jackson to the 5, playing Santi. You could even see like more Luke Kennard, like more of these, like the Warriors they're a small team right now. So and that's one reason why, and they play hard, especially defensively. But if you just look at it, like I think it was Austin Reeves playing alongside Luka and LeBron, like nuked, like absolutely nuked. So like Podziemski might just be my play of the day. We'll see. Like I just don't think he's going to get owned. And everyone hates playing the Warriors. Me too. I don't trust Kerr at all, but I'm using that to my advantage. No one's going to play him anyway. Give me 15%. I'll be well over the field. And when he goes off, I'm going to be quite different. So I'm definitely with you, but I like little pieces of this game. We'll just keep it at that.
Fair enough. Whoever you play from this game is going to be low owned. So I get it. Pulling a low owned piece, it's going to be that way from this game. I get what you're doing. All right. Last game up on the slate, Orlando and San Antonio. AP, you said San Antonio has been one of the matchups you've been wanting to pick on for some teams, them and Philly. Orlando, obviously, their 2 main guys, they kind of run things through, Franz and Paolo. I assume you're going to like at least one of those guys here at 9,900 for Paolo, Franz sitting 8,700, Wendell Carter at 5,200. I don't know if you're going to play any like Anthony Black or anything like that, but it does seem like we could find some plays on the Orlando side. I kind of like this spot for Paolo. Flopped last game. I didn't like the spot last game. I kind of like the spot for him and Franz, but I think I lean Paolo. Where are you standing on Paolo and Franz?
Yeah, so they go from the worst matchup, what I felt was the worst matchup against the Clippers for them. That game was real slow, real boring, real methodical. Not a lot played in transition. Not good for fantasy. To what will likely be like one of the best matchups against the Spurs that they don't really care defensively right now. Like Kelvin Johnson gets in there. He only cares about offense, which we should like that in DFS. Guys that want to produce offensively and not play defense. I mean, that's what we should be all about. So this is a back-to-back. That was a tough game. Orlando right now, they're right there with the Hawks, the 7-8 spot. The Bucks kind of, who knows what's going to happen with the Bucks. I don't think either one of them gets there. So but you do want to you do want to hold that 7-8 spot. So they should be plenty motivated. This should be a free win for them. I'm not going to say free win because the Spurs do have good pieces, but it's a game that they need to win. Like this team, this Orlando Magic team with Paolo and Franz and the other pieces around them is definitely a game that is winnable. So one of Paolo and Franz is a rule that I've been running. Maybe this is the matchup where both of them could get there, but dating back multiple years now, you could count on like one hand and maybe even a couple fingers the times where they both got there together. So that's a rule I've been running. In this spot, I wouldn't hesitate to get a little bit different with some of these backup players, we saw a stretch where Anthony Black was really good. And then you got into some matchups that maybe just weren't as good for him, and they leaned on Corey Joseph like we saw yesterday. Anthony Black has been awesome. I think it's a perfect matchup for him. I would not be surprised if he came in and put up a nice score. The same could be said with like Goga Batase. You've seen these guys, and these are like MME play only, but they're not going to be owned at all, and they just get you so different. And when they go off, I mean, and you have other chalk that bust, you're just going to be leapfrogging over people. But the main plays here, one of Paulo or Franz. I definitely want one of those two in my lineups. And I think some of these secondary players at the end of the night are going to get there as well. So when is the last time I'm trying to, my stuff's not loading, but you remember, like, it was not even a week ago where Anthony Black was playing like 30 plus minutes. When did
you're
that start?
Like 3 games ago or 3 or 4 games ago. So yeah.
Okay, so even
I
2
like
games ago.
I like him in Goga. Those are good MME calls. This is a great matchup. I think they're in play for sure, and I like the idea of one of Banchero or Wagner. Not as high on San Antonio. Don't really like many of the guys. It's just a bad. As good of a spot is for Orlando, it's that bad of a spot for San Antonio, in my opinion. So, AP, I didn't really hear you like that much of San Antonio. I don't really. Yeah. So,
I never play players unless it's a 2-game slate against the Magic. They're just the worst matchup. They play slow. They play really good defense. I wish Jalen Suggs was playing, because I think if Paulo and Franz got, if they started to heat up at the right time with all the pieces around them, I think they would be it would be a team that I wouldn't want to face, unless you're Boston, because Boston's just going to roll over everyone on the East. They're just too good.
Boston's they're tough to beat in a series for sure. Did you say who you like more between Franz and Paulo, or are you just making the rule and running it?
So in these spots, I love Paulo. I don't think the Spurs have anyone that can slow him down. And people are kind of tired. They seem tired of playing him. Like, you can just see in the Discord too, like, 9.9K Paulo, like he should be cheaper. I disagree. I think Paulo is incredible. It's a great matchup for both of them, but I lean Paulo, thinking that he gets a little bit lower ownership with Franz being a lot cheaper.
Yep, we're in agreement there. Some questions. Banking asks, Daniels or Anunoby? I think right now, if Cat sits, I'm definitely going OG. If Cat's out, I think it's more of a question. I probably still lean OG because of the matchup. AP, where are you at? Dyson Daniels, OG?
Yeah, I lean OG. I mean, I want Knicks tonight, and I want Orlando Magic bees. I'm just playing these matchups. It's treated me well so far. Like, I could have, like, I honestly might make a rule that forces at least one Nick in every lineup and one Magic piece in every lineup. And then also run that Franz or Paulo type of rule. It's just been an absolute printer. So I definitely lean OG.
Yeah. And then someone asked if we talked about Tyus Jones. We did not really talk that much about Tyus Jones. I definitely think with Royce out, we're going to look more to the forwards and the guards, with Royce and KD possibly being both out. I mean, AP, we're going to get a weird lineup with somebody. I don't know who it's going to be. Could it be Bol? I have no idea. But, like, I think Phoenix is another team you might want to make a rule, like, at least one or two of, because we're going to get some cheap guys.
Yeah, it's a good – I'm just trying to think. I don't – like, Phoenix has been so tough that it is weird for me. Like, I usually love watching KD and Booker play. I haven't watched a ton of their games, I'll be honest. But I do know KD likes the ball in his hands, and he likes to run the offense. I mean, is there a reason, like, why, Gillespie's in there over Tyus? Tyus Jones having a really rough season. There have been times, though, where he gets these spot starts when it's usually like when Booker or
I just don't think it's going to be tonight.
Yeah.
Do you?
until I get at least we get the lineup. Like I'm like done speculating with the Suns until we get the lineup. Like I would not be surprised if Bull gets ejected back in the starting lineup. I'm probably like locking. Like we know how that goes. Like the guy's upside is massive. You remember that slate where he got the spot start? I ran to my computer to pull up SaberSim, and I moved his projection to 100.
I was on this show, and I told people bull. I told people. I said
remember
bull. I bet the double. I posted the double. It was like, I don't know what it was, 18-1, whatever it was. Posted that thing. Yeah, I mean, I remember it for sure. We'll see if it happens. But like I said, I'm focusing more on the forwards, see who they start at that like 3-4 and go from there. So we'll see what they do.
The Wemby like comp is just like he's out there. He's so long and tall and just kind of goofy looking, but you can't compare Bull to
he can do some of the things Wemby can do. What they say, right? He's not. Yeah.
I mean, you could make the case like Khalil Ware too, like as a Wemby light, you know.
Well,
maybe light junior, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not even close.
I think they're a little different, in my opinion. I just think like Khalil. Have you seen Khalil Ware's jump shot?
I mean, not as polished.
Definitely not as polished. So,
he's
for
not,
sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the plays of the day. Just a reminder, guys, coming up next, the MLB show, Swing for the Fences. DC Boynton will take you guys through the entire, I think, 11 games MLB slate. So stay tuned on this channel for that. We got a ton of content over at Run Pure Sports, not just NBA, MLB. We added a boom sheet article, which our guy Stats does. It's awesome. DC's got his cheat sheet out. Big T has his Big Platoons player pool out on the site that has K-Falix 3 Max in it as well. We got playbooks, core plays for both NBA and MLB, plus every other sport, tennis, you name it, we've got it. If it's on DraftKings, we've probably got content for it. UFL or whatever it's called, the football league, we got that as well. So our guy Bruce is handling that. So we got you covered. You can get in. RPS 15's the promo code, 15% off. Use that code. Get in. Make sure you get in the Discord as well, because Discord is the most valuable part of the membership, in my opinion. And you can chop it up with all of us in the Discord. Ask us questions pertaining to whatever sport you want to talk about. So, check us out over there. Hit the like button on the video if you enjoyed the free show. AP, got to give our plays of the day. You got one for the people.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to, and he's not going to be like ownership wise, like it's relative to what I think he's going to be owned. But I'm going to go Podziemski. I just think no one's going to play him. He's been awesome of late, and I think this Grizzlies matchup is better than people think. It's just the problem is the Warriors rotation. But Podziemski at 6,300, we've seen what he can do. I think he gets there again tonight. So $6,300 Podziemski, my play of the day.
Am I seeing this right? Is Devin Booker going to actually be 6% owned? Because if Devin Booker is going to actually be 6% owned, then I have to give him as my play of the day. They just
I
don't
see like
have
13%.
I'm looking on Saber right now. So
they,
even 13 though,
yeah.
That's low in my opinion for what they're going to be missing. Now maybe Bradley Beal comes back and that hurts them a little bit, but man, and I'll say this too, Devin Booker, he can create for others. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. I don't know what his double-double is, but he might hit that tonight. So Devin Booker going to be my play of the day. 6%, 13, doesn't matter. Give me D-Book. Let's roll. AP, I like the show today. I think we gave a lot of winners. Tackle Orlando studs, the Knicks, Phoenix. We're ready to go. Your boy Podziemski at 1% ownership. We'll see if that comes through for you. Maybe AP comes back.
It was him or Kevin Porter Jr. I
knew
can't play them together,
Pod.
but I'm definitely playing those two guys.
I knew you were going Pods. All right, that's going to do it for the show, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Get over to the MLB show. It's starting right about now for AP and myself, JSU. Hit the like button on the video. Get over to runpuresports.com. RPS 15. Get you 15% off. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're out of here. Peace.